Today we're going to break down and review Season 1 for the finals. I'll be having my say on if I think it has a future in esports, and I'll give some insights for what to expect in Season 2. I've been playing since the alpha, and if you're watching right now, you probably have a ton of things to say about the game. I mean, seriously, me and you can agree, some decisions that Embark have done have been pretty questionable, but there's one huge thing that we've forgotten. Wait, Thix, what is it? Well, simply put, I honestly believe that a lot of people have mistaken this game as a competitive game rather than a casual one. Now, let me be honest to you. The very second I picked up the AKM and heard my first bullet rattle across the arena in Monaco, I immediately thought to myself, damn, I want to be the best player in this game, and this could obviously have esports potential. Like most of you, I'm of course sad that it currently hasn't manifested so far. You might be casual and still play a ton of the game, it's just the fact that the finals currently doesn't have a lot of actual goals or content after you've kind of completed those battle pass objectives, and I do expect that to gradually change over time. For example, even with now, some of the events and limited game modes that they host. But it's just kind of facts. If you're a casual player playing the game, eventually you're going to get bored playing the game, and another game that you might have been playing before and you might have a lot of connection with might just make an update or have a new patch or have a new content, and you're going to go over to that game. Really though, my brain wants me to compare this game for some reason, I don't know why, but to Fortnite, where in the early stages they also didn't have much content, only hosting a single map for a period of time. I mean, that game right there was so nostalgic for most of us in the 2018-2019 period of time. Epic Games went chaotic with the amount of content and the things that they have added into the game since the Season 1. Most of us remember how the maps kind of dynamically evolved over time as well, based on the lore. Leading back to the finals though, if you really think about it, I think the format that the finals could run each season would actually be really fun. At the start of each season, you know, your gadget and player progression is actually reset. Of course, you know, you still keep your cosmetics. You then get, you know, X amount of days to kind of grind out the battle pass and grind out the objectives to build up your contestant and obviously play some rank. Actually, towards like the last quarter of the season, or like halfway towards the last quarter, where it's mostly calmed down or starting to calm down, they can actually host competitive focus events for the community there. And I think that would actually keep the drive for you to want to play the game over an extended period of time, rather than forcing it in such a small, you know, period of time. Oh, new content update, let's play the finals until we're bored of it again. I think that spreading it out is going to be a lot more beneficial. There was a mention from the awesome Dusty previously in the finals official Discord, stating that they are working first on the core heart of the game before they take a dive into the competitive scene. And a strong quote here is that Embark didn't make the finals to be competitive from the start, but they see the potential. I do agree with the vision here, and I think a big take for you watching at home is that we need to be patient.
Just be patient. That's all I ask.
But the real question is, how patient do we need to be? Okay, so let's rewind all the way back to the start of the season. The finals had really poor fortune come their way, of course, with the field of view reset that wasn't properly communicated, resulting in a mass negative review stampede. However, the community brought fairness back, and the real reviews took the game to currently, I think it's about 76% mostly positive on Steam, which is of course much better. Since then, as we progressed through the early stages of the season, we were met with an onslaught of cheaters running word.exe files. Now, obviously you could argue that the lowered play count is a factor of it, but I did want to take this time to shout out the dev team working on the fair play integrity of the game, as I've actually yet to see a cheater since then. Obviously, just as a precursor to the next section we'll talk about, it was obviously known that the devs did take a break over that holiday period, rightfully so, after working super hard on getting the game out before 2024. After the Christmas update, which I actually felt was one of my favorite surprise updates, we really didn't see much content even in the store releasing in the game. If you remember, the store would basically kind of say like refresh in 7 days, and then 7 days later it would just say refresh in 7 days again. And I do think that's like not the best, because some people like myself are quite excited to see the new content in the game, especially when there's a timestamp applied to it. So obviously since then they have changed that, but I do think overall it has been a pretty successful season in, you know, releasing cosmetics for the game. And let's be real, the designs themselves have been pretty good. I've been looking at my comment section and replying. Thank you all, you know, obviously for taking time talking, and just hearing your guys' feedback on the cosmetics when I do the update videos. And it's been very, very positive overall, and people have even been impressed with what they can produce. Yes, there are still some people that aren't happy, but obviously over the course of Season 2 and onwards, we might start to see some more skins that do take people by hearts, because I am still seeing some default players running around the arena. arena. However, I'm going to say this, and obviously it's going to shoot me in the back because I like making my update videos every week, but I do believe, though, that the actual store currently might not be sustainable to run for refreshes every 7 days. Games such as, let's just say, for example, Valorant, right? They have certain skins refresh and rotate each day throughout 24 hours. So I was thinking this could actually be similar with the finals. So you could have 4 cosmetics rotate randomly for everyone. These could even be cosmetics inside of a bundle every 24 hours. And then if they do decide to buy the overall bundle from that purchase, Embark can then subsidize that cost over to the player. Then have a release of a big, crazy, unique collection which could last for, 2 to 3 weeks with another bundle next to it that's been previously released in case people missed out. But I just think that's a better idea. I just feel like in the longer term, it might become quite straining for them to always have to worry about a new skin releasing every 7 days. Maybe I'm wrong, and, that's just how crazy the art team is over there, that they always have a new idea, a crazy idea every 7 days, and it won't ever get boring. But it's just something that I think that will be a lot more sustainable for them. Now, for the actual changes that have taken place in this game, I feel like it's probably the most mixed point about the game, and obviously, as we can agree, it's arguably the largest problem. I do give a lot of credit to Embark for listening to most of the community's feedback on the game. However, I feel like they are equally responsible, as are the players, with directing the changes. When I give feedback, especially to the devs directly, it really stems from a simple 3-step question. The first question is, what isn't working well in the finals? The second question is, why isn't it working? And the third question is, what should we do to fix it? Typically, many, I guess, emotional players answer questions 1 and 3 and completely avoid the most important question, why isn't it working? Which to me really is a problem. Now, translating that over, I feel like this has happened a lot with the contestants in the game without, realizing or understanding that it's the bigger picture that they need to take in before giving feedback on the game. For example, maybe you just got outplayed. Should you have stuck with your team? Were you fighting in a poor spot? If we keep nerfing and nerfing and nerfing the game, I don't think that it will put us in the best spot for the future. How Embark has managed the feedback has been pretty damn good. And I feel like they understand that a chunk of the feedback is based on frustration over actual imbalances within the game. But overall, what do I think of the current state, the current meta, the current build of the game? How do I feel like the game plays currently? Okay, so this is a personal opinion before I give my answer. Okay, it's on my real in-depth gameplay that I've spent a ton of hours perfecting. But in all seriousness, I do study the game more than I play it, and that's obviously what my viewers enjoy most about my channel. I'm able to give insights on how to improve players playing the game, and also help newer players improve, which is why you can check out the guides and VOD reviews on my channel. So, based on my expert gameplay and my analysis, I do believe that medium and heavy are now in a reasonably good place. Of course, this recording is being taken place just after the new red barrel nerf, but I do feel like light has been tuned down pretty hard. And I think that really what happened was that most players were actually complaining about the weapons that light had over light itself. I actually feel like a simple change to light could bring it kind of back in line with its competition, and I do think that it kind of stems from light's utility that they provide. For example, right now, light is the only contestant to have the stun gun equipped, and obviously we know that it can do dividends in doing things like stopping cash out steals, even stopping defibs from medians, and, just generally helping pick off players. Another item the light has, which is the glitch grenade, is almost the same must-have in a team like the defib is for a medium. The way that grenades work currently doesn't really assist in kind of light's ability to have enough survivability. That's obviously if light gets charged down, providing quick help to the team. I actually agree with Piggy's take that a lot of the issues with the grenade's utilities are because of the grenade's charge time, and being able to cook them before throwing them might actually be a lot more viable and bring light back in with the competition. I use the flashbang on light in team scenarios, and my goal personally, just my own theory, is to disorientate the opponent as much as possible. But having to, I guess, predict where a team goes, being far enough to not get charged down, and being close enough to my team to deal damage really is a balance that's pretty hard to consistently get right. When I'm defending a cash out, for example, it's really hard to kind of combine holding your ground as a light with only having 150 health with being close enough to stop steals. So I kind of have to just gamble and rely on my teammates to do so for me whilst I'm further away providing utility from across the buildings. Now, apart from light needing just a bit more of a buffer, I actually think that the game personally is in a decent place. It might not be the most favorable terrible, take, but that's aside for the contestants. I believe the cash out needs to be reworked as well. I've been calling this ever since, I think, closed beta 1, where I basically said teams need to be rewarded for defending objectives. If, for example, you, me, and someone else are holding an objective off against another team, we're obviously going to burn through our utility and health. If then a third party comes along, we don't really have as much utility or even health to be able to kind of deal with the onslaught of the 3 extra players coming along. So if we're defending a cash out and it gets stolen, for example, last minute because we just can't hold off against that many players in such a small amount of time, if you as a team can defend the cash out for 75%, you should be able to get 25 to 50% of the cash deposited into your, overall account or your overall score, if that makes sense. I just think that is the most reasonable way possible. Some people might not agree, but if you really, really think about it, it's so frustrating holding off a cash out for so long and being third party to the point where you're holding so well, but you just don't have enough utility or gadgets to hold off against as many players, so then it gets stolen last second. I think that is one of the most unfair triggering scenarios on the game, and I think that if Embark do decide to change that, I genuinely believe that the game will be so much more fun. That's just the one thing. If you ask me, Thix, if there's one thing you could change about the game, it's exactly that. So apart from that, I do think that the game is in a decent place, but let me know what your thoughts are, of course, in the comments below, and I'll actually feedback some really good points to the devs as well. Okay, so we've obviously seen some questionable changes, of course, with the patch notes, and sometimes it's almost like half of the devs are working on one build, and then another half are working on another build, and then on patch day, they kind of combine the builds together to give us some weird value changes. Like, for example, we had the one where the bloom changes got randomly reworked, or even just the ranked matchmaking, that got obliterated on one day. Of course, they were obviously quick enough to respond in due manner, so, it's not a huge issue for me, but it's still frustrating for those that have set schedules to play the game. Another thing is, of course, the changes that they made to the controller's aim assist. I do think that it was pretty much well received. Of course, many controller players would be annoyed that they got a global nerf just because of the way they play, but I did see quite a lot of people understanding as to why these changes were needed. And honestly, I'll be real, I did enjoy testing out the before and after so that I could actually give a fair take as, a core keyboard and mouse player. Now, you're probably wondering what my takes are on the future of the game. For example, Thix, what can I expect in Season 2, and how will the game develop and progress further? Firstly, things are heating up in the lore of the finals. Shout out to the Easter egg community, of course, with channels such as Rockhound and Spear keeping me up to date. I really think that we will start to see more of a story unfold in this game, which in turn, obviously, as a player, brings in more engagement and connection, and we'll really start to see what it is we're doing in this virtual world. As that progresses, I believe that the maps and elements will follow and match the lore, as I've mentioned previously, so of course, me and you as a player, let's be on the lookout for that. Of course, as a standard, I'm expecting to see new abilities, I guess new gadgets, and obviously a new map, of course, which has been, that standard rollout with Embark. I'll be honest with you, and I don't believe that Season 2 will give us a closer direction towards an esports scene, because, right now we're even just waiting for our custom games to be implemented, but I do hope that this season coming will be the most balanced, the most stable season, so that they and us can start talking about an esports scene, or, even just custom lobbies at a minimum. The ranking system, of course, needs a complete overhaul in this game. I'm really not a fan of how it works personally, and I think that we could experiment with alternative ways with how the ranking works. Of course, one of the most frustrating aspects of this game is obviously solo queuing in ranked, which, yes, I agree, the game was not designed to be solo queued, but a huge chunk of players do it anyways, and I would actually still love the player count to be high enough to support a solo matchmaking lobby, matching us in with 3 players of a similar rank, instead of expecting me to carry 2 bronze players with default loadouts against, a triple diamond team that are on Discord doing comms together. Now, right now, of course, we have a lot of those clickbait YouTubers, they're saying, oh, the game's dying and this is the end, but funnily enough, they still make videos on the finals. I don't care about my view count personally, but I want to make the most informative, helpful videos for newer players to get them into a game. But obviously, just keep a mental note of those content creators doing this clickbaity stuff, because obviously there's really no need. Honestly, because of the way players have been playing this game, rather than mainly the devs themselves, I'll rate Season 1 for the finals as a competitive player, a 5 out of 10. But from a casual player view, I'll actually rate it a 7 out of 10. Honestly, it's been good seeing the content and progression, but I can only play the game with a dance mat for a certain period of time until it just feels repetitive. Right now, the player count is lowered, yes, but now that we've filtered out all those hype players and that quick boom, you'll notice that the count on average will slowly start increasing over time. And that is how you build a loyal player base. I hope you've enjoyed my take and review on the state of the final Season 1. Yes, there's still just under a month left, so if anything major happens, I'll provide an update video to my review for this season, but I do think I've covered enough. Of course, if I've missed anything again, feel free to talk in the comments and I'll take down some pointers for feedback as well. That's everything from me. I hope to see you all in Season 2. I'll be here waiting for you. My name's been Thix, and I'll see you on the podium.